your past, your present, your future.
Hi, my name is Dayle Schear. Thank you for joining me in my step-by-step guide on how to read the tarot. If you watch the video and you follow my manual, step by step, you will learn how to read the cards within the hour. So let's go to the cards and see what we can come up with. First that is required would be the tarot deck by Rider-Waite. I do prefer this deck at all times because it is very accessible to get. You can get it in almost any bookshop or any metaphysical store. If you do have another deck of tarot cards, you may use it if you wish and follow along. But the most important thing is to follow the manual and use your cards. Now let's open the deck, and the most important thing that you want to do is pull out the two cards that are in print and kind of put them to the side. That is not really part of the deck. It's just what the manufacturer has brought in. And you want to kind of glance through the cards and notice that they're all in an upright position and they're real pretty and designed quite well and kind of, feel good about it. It's real important also to get rid of the box because the box take away from your vibrations. The most important thing when you are learning to read your own cards or, get involved with the tarot is to get your vibrations mixed up into the cards and your feelings and sort of make the cards your own. Now we're going to learn how to cut the deck and reverse the cards. That will only be done one time and one time only throughout the whole time that you own the cards. And what we do is we place the cards right here on the table and we cut them. There are two ways to do it. I'm showing you the first way. We cut the cards and you can kind of put them upright like this. And you notice they're all going the same way. So what you want to do is just reverse one of the decks and then you kind of push them back into the cards is what you want to do, in a simple way. And at that point, the cards, some are mixed up and some aren't. Some are reversed and some are upside down and some are upright. So that's the way you want to keep the cards in that position. The other way to reverse the deck is to spread the cards on the table and pull maybe 20 cards, 10 cards, 15 cards out. And these cards in the beginning would be in an upright position. And you would just want to turn them upside down and push them back into the cards. Now that we have done that, your cards will be reversed. Some will be upside down and some will be upright, in an upright position. You will never have to do this again. Now you have sort of made the cards your own and put everything in perspective here. The next thing you want to do is shuffle the cards. You open your hands and you basically shuffle the cards. And the reason for this, again, it's a good period of time to sit there and really contemplate on a question or a specific question. And you really would like to get your vibrations into the cards and really mix them up thoroughly. Otherwise, you're going to have too many cards coming out of the same suit, and that's not a real good thing to do. While I'm shuffling the cards, I'll tell you a little bit about the tarot. Nobody really knows where it has derived from. It's a very ancient method of foretelling the future. Very, very accurate. And if you followed the manual, you really don't have to be psychic to read cards. Once you can learn the meanings of the cards, you can get a good answer to any of your questions in the future. So I'm shuffling, and hopefully the cards will be, pretty mixed up. And I'm going to place the cards right back down on the table and kind of put them to the side, because the next thing we're going to do is pick the court card for you. Okay, now let's go to page 6 of the manual, which is court cards. And let's pick a court card for you. A court card represents you or someone for whom you are reading for. If you are reading for yourself, pick a court card that best describes yourself. Remember, a court card represents a person. If you are reading for your client, pick a court card that best describes your client. Now we're going to go with the first court card, which really is not a court card, but can be used as one. This is called the Emperor, and the Emperor is a man of power. Okay, now we have the Empress, and the Empress is not a court card, but she can be used as one, and she represents a woman of power. So you can use her in a reading for a woman who may have a lot of power. And now we have the King of Wands. And the King of Wands, this card should be used for a businessman. And we have the Queen of Wands. And this card should be used for a businesswoman. Then we have the Knight of Wands. And this is a young man who likes to create change. And then we have the Page of Wands, and he is a young man who brings joy, and he's also a messenger. And then we have the King of Cups, and he is a father type image, husband, good and kind. And then we have the Queen of Cups, and she is a mother type image. She is also very good and very kind. Then we have the Knight of Cups. She's a young girl, boy, or child, a romantic dreamer type. And then we have the Page of Cups, and this is a girl, boy, or child that brings gaiety amongst you. Then we have the King of Swords, and he's a lawyer or government type official. We have the Queen of Swords, who is a widow or a divorced person. We have the Knight of Swords, who is a romantic suitor, one who may be courting you. We have the Page of Swords, a young person, boy or girl, who has a big mouth and spies on you and others and tells all. Now we have the King of Pentacles. And the King of Pentacles, I would use this card for a very, very wealthy man. And we have the Queen of Pentacles, and I would use this card for a wealthy woman. We have the Knight of Pentacles, and use this card for a person who does his work well. And we have the Page of Pentacles, and use this card for a young boy or girl who studies as a scholar or childlike going to school. It's important to identify the four suits, so when you glance in your tarot deck, you'll be able to know which is which. And let's look at the cups for a moment. Here we have cups. Now, how do we know that it's cups? We know that it's cups because on the card itself, each little thing looks like a cup. And actually, we're looking for the number. Here's the Roman numeral number 9, which would represent 9 of cups. That's how you would learn to read the card. So you have little man sitting here, and you have little cups, and that represents the 9 of cups. Now, cups also mean love. And love and cups are related to the actual 52 deck playing card, meaning hearts. So we have hearts and loves and cups, and that's how you can identify the cups. Okay, here we have the card, the Three of Swords. How to identify the sword card is by the little swords that are piercing this particular card, which is the heart. Anytime you see swords, then you know that is a sword card. And the Roman numeral 3 means a 3 of swords. So swords also represent sorrow and sadness and illness. And actually, the higher the number, the more extreme it is. The swords also relate to the Ace of Spades in the playing deck of the 52. So here we have sorrow, swords, sadness, Roman numeral 3, 3 of swords. Now here we have the pentacles. These little round circles represent money or pentacles. And if we count the little pentacles in this particular card, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of pentacles, or 6 of money, representing the Roman numeral 6. So pentacles mean money. And money is also related to the Ace of Diamonds in the 52 playing deck. So we have money, pentacles, and we have the Roman numeral 6 of pentacles. Now let's go to wands. Now wands are a little bit different than the sword cards. Wands are like little arrows, and they're a little bit more rounder, and you'll be able to identify the wands with practice. All we have to do is count the little arrows, little wands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's Roman numeral 8 of wands is the card. And wands refer to business and enterprise. It is also related to the Ace of Clubs in the 52 playing deck. So we have wands refer to business and the Roman numeral 8 of wands. Now I'd like you to take a moment out and go back over the court cards and pick a court card that best describes you or for somebody that you are reading for. I have chosen the Empress. I'm going to use the card of the Empress that will best describe me, and I'm going to lay this card face up on the table in front of me. Remember, this card represents you or the person you're reading for. Example, the Emperor represents a man of power, the King of Cups, a father-type image, and so on. Now, if you'll join me and turn to page 9 of the manual, we're going to talk about the layout and how to lay out the cards. And that's a real important thing to learn, because this is the whole essence of the reading. Once you've learned all about the layout, you can lay out and read your own cards, or your husband's, or your boyfriend's, or whomever you wish, by putting the proper court card down. And in just a moment, we're going to go to the board and we're going to examine the layout thoroughly and see what's going on here. And while I'm doing that, open up the manual and follow with me on page 9, and we'll look at the layout. If you'll notice, the first card is your court card, the card of the number 1 position. It shows you this is you, this is whomever you're reading for. The first card that would come about would be the first card that covers you, and this is always read upright, if you'll remember correctly. And the next card is the card that crosses you for good or bad, and this is always read upright. Then the third card is the card beneath you, and that is your present situation or a question that you may want answered. This is your past. This is on the way out. This is moving in a different direction, and this is leaving at the moment. This may come into being. This is position 5, and may come into being, may be part of your future. This is your future, and this will come into being for sure. This is maybe your negative feelings, card 7, about your question. And this is maybe how others see you or what you fear, and that's card 8. And we get to your hopes, and that is card 9. And then we come to your outcome of the question, and that is card 10. So you just want to glance and read the whole overall picture and look at all the cards, and that for sure will give you the answer to your question. Now we're going to go into page 12, the major arcana in the manual. The major arcana is cards that represent major events in our life. So starting with the first card, I want to go over each one of the cards in the major arcana. And here our first card is the Fool, and he is number 0. And the key here is that the Fool represents a choice, that there's always a choice in life in whatever decision that we have to make. Maybe it's in job or workplace or love. The Fool will represent a major choice or a major decision that you will have to make. Then the next card is the Magician, and he's card number 1. And the Magician represents skill and mastery in anything that you're doing. So the key word here for the Magician is skill. You have skill in any job or trade or anything new that you are doing. The next card is the High Priestess, and she's card number 2. And the High Priestess represents that there are hidden meanings in the cards. And the key here is that everything is not being disclosed to you that you are reading in the card. So that's the High Priestess. And then we have the Empress, and that's card number 3. And the Empress represents a woman of power. She is a woman of power that may control certain situations. So the key here is power and maybe a little bit of control. And then we have the Emperor, and the Emperor is card number 4. And he is a very powerful man. He sits on his throne, and he also represents power in a manly fashion. And the next card here is card number 5, the Hierophant, or sometimes called the Pope. And the Pope represents being fair, conforming, looking at things and weighing it and balancing it. So the key word here would be to conform, or one who conforms to society. The next card is the card of the Lovers, and that's card number 6. And the Lovers, you'll notice that there's 2 little people in the card, so it's not quite a full romance going on here, but it's the card of lovers, and maybe there's a card of a choice between 2 loves, or you will have to make a decision, or it also means falling in love and romance. So that's a card, and there's a key here, choice in love. And the next card we have is the Chariot, and that's number 7. And the Chariot sits behind his throne in some sort of machine. And today, in this day and age, we would say that this would be the car. He is driving a car, and he's in full control, and he is doing some sort of traveling. So the Chariot would represent traveling by car. And the next card we have is the card of strength, and she's number 8. And strength means being able to overcome any situation, that you are in full control and that you can go ahead now. So strength is that you are in full control of everything at this moment in time. The next card is the Hermit, and the Hermit is card number 9, and the Hermit, he sort of is exactly what you see him to be, one who is in a hermit cell. It is someone who needs to be left alone to make his own decision, and that's what the hermit means, being in a hermit cell. And even though he has a little light up here, the little lantern that's showing him which way to go, he still doesn't want to get out yet. He wants to stay in for a while. So sort of leave that person alone and let him come to himself. And then the next card is the Wheel of Fortune, and that's card number 10. And the wheel, she spins you a treasure. Round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. And it could be travel, there could be highs and lows and ups and downs, but whatever it's going to be, there's going to be one good ride. So the wheel is the card of travel and new exciting things that will be coming about. The next card we have is card number 9, Justice. Now, justice means justice, fair play, balancing things. He's like the judge in a sense, and he's weighing and balancing all decisions for you. So that's the key, and that's the card of justice. And the next card we have is the Hangman. Now, it's very interesting. Even though the Hangman, which is card number 12, even though he looks like he is hanging upside down, which he is, the card is read upright. And how you can tell, this is a very good example, if a card is reversed or upright. When the card is upright, you'll be able to read the writing perfectly. Of course, when she's upside down, it will look something like this, where you cannot read the handwriting at all. And so here we have the card of the Hangman. And the card of the Hangman is where one is suspended. One cannot make a decision. He is all hung up. And that's the key to the card of the Hangman. Then we have the card of Death. Now, death does not mean death in itself or by itself. That is card number 13. Death means change, transformation. It also means shock. A little bit later on, I'll show you the card combination that would actually mean an illness or death that would or may be in the family. But it really is nothing to be frightened of. The death card, if it were to fall near some sort of money, might mean a shock about getting money. So it could mean that you might win the lottery. So a lot of times the death card is not a bad card, but it is a good card. So let's look at death to look at change. And we'll look at death as change or possibly a shock that might come into your life, good or bad, depending on other cards. Then we have the card of Temperance, and that's card number 14. Now, Temperance, she takes her time before she makes a decision, and she weighs and balances things, and she's sort of on the right track, and she's going along life, sort of making sure of everything. And that's the key in Temperance, in that she's weighing and balancing every decision that she makes. The next card is the Devil. A lot of people are frightened by this card. This is card 15. There really isn't anything to be frightened of. It means chains. You see, there's chains of bondage. You are bound. You may be bound to alcohol. It actually means sexual attraction, overdoing it in anything you do. It could be drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be anything. When this card appears, it means that somebody may be addicted to something or they may be bound to something. That's the key to look for in the card of the Devil. And the next card we have is the Tower. And as you can see, the Tower looks like an awfully bad card. That's card number 16, the Tower. And the Tower is kind of bad in a way. It means bankruptcy, everything is falling, nothing that you know to exist at this point in time is going to exist. There's changes that are about you, but there is some good that does come from this card. With change, there is growth. So even though everything may be bad happening to you at the moment, it's okay because it's going to change and it's going to get a lot better. But the Tower, the key here is it could be bankruptcy, all is falling, nothing is the same anymore. The next card is the card of the star, and that's card number 17. And the star is everything that you hope for, everything that you want, everything that you dream of. The star of high hopes. Becoming a star, becoming famous, hanging onto the star, getting some money, everything that you want is within that star. The next card is the moon, and that's card number 18. The moon is kind of an eerie card. It's like talking about a full moon, the things that happen under the full moon. It may indicate not to travel under the full moon. The moon card is just that things are not quite right, that maybe you shouldn't make any major decisions at this point in time. And that's the key with the moon. The next card is the sun card. And the sun card is promise of hope, and that the sun card, everything is a new day, everything bright and promising is going to occur. If you wish for something, it's going to come about because the sun card is showing. And that is card number 19. If you take the sun and the moon together right here, if you just look at them, it's a time marker. It indicates an event that will happen in the early morning. So if the sun and the moon fall together, it's a time card showing you that a major event will happen in the early morning. The next card that I have here is the card of judgment, and that's card number 20. And you are being judged. You are being watched. You are being judged. It could be harshly or it could be good, depending on surrounding cards. Maybe your boss is watching you for a promotion. There's lots of things going on with the judgment card. Sometimes it is connected to law and legalities, but most of the time it's you're being watched for a very favorable position, or you're being watched whether to get your raise or not. So look at that judgment card as being watched. And the next card we have, and the last card, is card 21, and that's the card of the world. And that means world travel. It means travel by plane, travel by air, changing, touring the world. All kinds of wonderful things are happening with the world card, and that's card number 21. And the key here is a lot of travel and a lot of change that's going to occur in your life. The major arcana are very, very important cards. There's more to it than just reading the cards. You have to understand what a reverse card is. When you see a reverse card in the layout, you have to read it as reverse. We're going to go to the board in just a moment, and I'm going to show you what a reverse card looks like. Here we have the Empress. Now, if you'll notice, all the cards are basically upright, and you can tell they're upright because you can read their names. But when we get into a situation of the Empress, if you were to see this in a layout, how you would know she's reversed is if she's upside down and you can't read the name. Then you know that that is a reversed card. And that's important to know this. And we'll go to the Lovers here for the moment. Right now the Lovers are upright. But if you see the card in the layout upside down, that is considered the card to be reversed. So you're looking at the reversed meaning of that card. Now the reversed meaning are different from the readings that I gave you in the whole layout. The reverse meaning may lessen the degree of each card. So we're looking at reverse situations, and you will have to refer to your manual for that. On the major arcana, and all the cards, it's very important that you just don't read the meanings of the cards. It's important that you explore your own intuitive ability and visually be able to look at cards and feel something from it. So what I'm going to teach you is a little visual technique that you can use to sort of use your imagination and read the cards visually first, then for you to look at the meanings. Now on the board here I have chosen 4 cards. The Chariot, and if you remember that's the card of the car, or one who is driving in the car. The Lovers, which means a choice between 2 loves. The Fool, which means a choice in life in any direction. And the Tower, which could be catastrophe or bankruptcy. Keeping those meanings in mind, visually look at these cards and what do you feel, what do you see? Assume if we were reading for a client and say the Fool came up, the Lovers came up, and the Chariot came up in the same layout, and they're all near each other. Well, visually, you'd want to look and say, well, gee, the Fool means a choice that this person may have to make. And it looks like maybe that they're lovers. Maybe they're foolishly in love, maybe they're lovers, and it looks like they're driving in a car, and it looks like they're going to some destination. So this is what I mean by the visual technique. You want to look at it visually first before you read the meanings and see what you feel. Now, if we were to add the Tower into this, the Tower could indicate a little bit something different. We could get into a situation where somebody is in a car, maybe they're in an accident because the tower has fallen, and they're obviously lovers, and maybe the choice they made was a foolish choice, that they shouldn't have been driving in the car at high speed or whatever. So you have to really test your mind and your intuitive ability, and not only look at the cards in a meaning by meaning technique, but put your own intuitive ability into it. Earlier in the video, I was talking to you about the death card and how the death represents death only in a certain type of circumstance. When you are reading cards for somebody, whether it be for yourself or a client, you really shouldn't tell the person that so-and-so is going to die. You might indicate that there's going to be a change in the family. You might indicate that there's going to be a passing in the family, but really you're not trying to scare anybody. You're trying to deal with reality of what the cards are telling you. So we're going to go to the board, and I'm going to show you exactly what the death situation is and how it looks. And here we have a situation of the death card itself, and it has to be with the Tower, it has to be with the Ace of Swords, it has to be with the Nine of Swords, it has to be with the Four of Swords, whether it be reversed or not. I'm just trying to show you a typical layout of Death is Coming. Ten of Swords. All these cards must appear in the same layout to indicate that there is something very critical that is coming down. It may not be death, but it may be an accident. It's to show you that there is a change and something happening of great drama that you're going to hear about. Don't be alarmed about it. It is something that will happen and will occur, but you should pay attention to it. This is the only time that you will recognize it as death or as a major, major change, or that you will hear of a passing in the family. And again, please be very cautious on how you tell your client that this is occurring. So look at it and just say, please stay close to somebody. They may be passing on. The minor arcana are just minor cards that influence your life during a reading. They enhance the reading with the major cards. Actually, a complete reading can be done with just major arcana, but we choose to use all 78 in the playing deck to get a full and complete reading. I won't go very heavily into the minor arcana, just briefly, and I'd like you to study your manual and learn about it on your own. Now we're going to do an actual reading, and my friend Dayle is here, and I'm going to let her shuffle the cards and ask a question. But before I do that, I'd like to point out I have pulled a court card for Dayle, and that court card is the Queen of Wands. This represents a businesswoman, and I feel that is a type of individual that Dayle is. So the first and foremost important thing before you even do a reading is that you must have a court card on the table. And in this case, we have the Queen of Wands on the table, and that will represent Dayle. And now she's going to shuffle her question into the card. So if you'll just shuffle rhythmically and do not break the shuffle at any time and ask a specific question. I also like to point out the fact that if a card should fall out of the deck for any reason, you must read that card immediately. That would be a good indicator of an event or something that is going to happen in the near future. And you would also note the position of the layout that that card would represent if it should fall in the spread. And what she basically is doing is shuffling. Are you all through there? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. If you'll hand the cards to me, I'll just have you move your hands down a little bit. What I'm going to do is place the deck to my left and Dayle's left. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to pull the card from the center. This is the most important thing in doing the reading, that it has to be pulled from the center. If you were to pull the card this way or that way, it would be wrong. So this card must be pulled from the center. And the first card is reversed, but I will show it upright. It is the Two of Wands. This is her first card covering her. Now in the layout, this would cover her. And the first card is always read upright, even if it isn't in a reversed position or not. It must be read upright. And the second card I pull from her would be the Ten of Swords. And that card will be read upright at all times, no matter what, even if it is reversed. So we have the Two of Wands and the Ten of Swords. The first card covers her. The second card crosses her for good or bad. Then we have the card that is beneath her, and that is the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups. And that card is beneath her. Then we have her card that will be of her past. And that card is the Six of Pentacles. And that's going to represent her past. And then the next card would be what may come into her future. And that is the Queen of Cups. That may come into her future. And then the next card we have is her future. And that's the card of the Justice. So that is pertaining to her question, maybe directly or indirectly, but this will be the card of her future. Okay? And this is what she fears. And this is the Queen of Swords. And this woman is in her life, and it's something that she fears. And this is what she feels about her question. And upside down, inverted, it is a Death card, so it could mean a shock, but we'll go into that. And this is under her hopes, and it's the King of Swords, under her hopes. And then we have her outcome, which is the Nine of Wands. This is her outcome. Might I say, you do have some very interesting cards, and I'm going to go over it, and it's going to be quite enjoyable. I don't think it's as bad as you anticipate or think. Now, I don't want you to tell me your question at all, but at the end we'll discuss your question and how it may relate to each one of these cards, okay?
Okay.
Now, Dayle, I'm going to analyze your layout first visually before I go into each card. Is that okay? Now, what you seem to have a lot of are quite a few major cards. You have the Justice card, you have the Death card, you have some action happening here. You have a lot of women in your cards. You have the Queen of Cups and you have the Queen of Swords, and you have a lot of people in general. You have the King of Swords, all kinds of people. When you have a lot of people in your cards, it basically means that you are surrounded by a lot of people, and there's going to be some things that might be out of your control that you can't deal with, or that the decisions that you make may not be the right one. So it feels like other people will be making the decisions for you is what's happening here in the cards. There's just a lot of activity and a lot of people, and you will be going to a party or a political gathering. And the reason I see that visually is because I'm just going to glance at this for the moment, but we have the Justice card, and we also have the card of the Lawyer, and we're talking with politics or a political party or something with law. So it shows a big party in the offing that you will have to go to, okay? Now I'll get into the actual reading of the cards, all right? Now we have the first card, which is the Two of Wands, and that covers your court card. I want to show everybody that the court card is under there. And this Two of Wands is concerning your present question, and it covers you, and it is read upright. And it's a little man looking into the horizons. And the Two of Wands indicates that he's a little bit content, and he's holding on to what he has. But he looks out into the horizon, and he wishes that he wants or could have more. And it usually refers to business or property or real estate, the one. So it seems like maybe in your own business, you're looking out thinking, how am I going to make things better? How am I going to make my business better? How am I going to improve upon it? And how am I going to generate the money coming in? Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. Okay, now this covers you for good or bad, and it's always read upright no matter what. So we have the Ten of Swords, and don't let that scare you. Even though it is read upright, it's showing that there might be illness within the family. It's showing that you're going to hear of illness, or somebody just might be sick or ill, or you may come down with a cold or a flu or something of that sort that will, stop you from going to work for a little bit of time. So that's all that's showing you. Then we go with what's beneath you, and that is your present concern, maybe about, and it looks to me all your cards are business cards, so it might be concerned about business or around work. So the card beneath you is your wish card, and it's the Nine of Cups, and it shows for what you have wished for will come true, but it's going to take some time for these things to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. That there's a lot of people influencing your cards and you're not in control of the situation. And it cautions you not to make any major moves at this time, but to also look about you and look around you and see what is coming into play before you plop your money down anywhere, before you invest anywhere, or before you expand. However, it is saying that your wish will come in time. Now, what is out of your past and is coming directly from your past and is influencing, and it's on the way out? And that's the Six of Pentacles. And the Six of Pentacles showing at one time in the past, you had enough money, to get started and enough money to give like to the poor. But it also shows me that you were giving money away. It shows me that you were giving money to your friends or helping people. Have you been doing that? Yes. Or did you do that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's showing me that's why you don't have enough money now to kick your business off, because you're so generous and you're so good-hearted that you give everything away. It doesn't necessarily have to be money, but you give of your heart, and that puts you in an awkward situation. So that's on the way out. You're learning from that mess, huh? Okay, Dayle, now we have the Queen of Cups, and that may come into being. And the Queen of Cups, she represents a best friend, a kind-hearted woman, a person that really cares about you and will offer her services to you in any way, shape, or form. She comes from the heart. She's a motherly figure, can be a mother, can be a best friend, somebody that you trust in your heart, and she will intervene and help you quite a bit. Then we come into your future. And your future card is the Justice card. And that shows me that if you're dealing, and of course your cards are indicating business, and if you're dealing with any business matters, that you should be signing contracts. Because if you don't sign the contracts, you could royally get hurt. People could back out of their deals. They cannot give you what is promised. So everything should be in writing for it to be fair, is what Justice is weighing and balancing everything within your life at this time. So all future projections in the very near future should be in contract form. And it looks like you'll have two people signing the contracts, yourself and the other partner or other woman. And it has to be done properly and correct, otherwise all will fall. Okay?
Right.
Now we get into maybe what you fear in regards to your question. It's the Queen of Swords, and she is a widowed or divorced person. The Queen can be spiteful. She can be nasty. She can talk at two sides of her mouth. Mouth actually. It could be both an employer, an employee, somebody that you work with that may promise you one thing and talk nicely to you, but then behind your back she would talk against you. So in relating to contracts and this woman, it may be somebody that you're dealing with, a new contract. I do not trust this woman. I would say everything better be in an ironclad contract, or at the end result you will be hurt. Okay? Now you're going to get a shock. The Death card obviously means shock, good or bad depending upon surrounding cards. You have a female and male situation here. This is what you fear under family. This very minorly, it could shock you. It could be a slight passing that you hear about in the distant family, so distant that it would be so remote. Or it could be a shock between a female and a male. He is a lawyer. He is an attorney, So it's shocking, something news or some shocking news, good or bad, depending. It doesn't show bad or good. It just shows you're going to be in for a little shock, but nothing too severe. So that's under family opinion. And then we get into your hopes and what you're hoping for. And then we have the King of Swords, and there's a lawyer that will help you in the near future to sign contracts and deal with you in dealings and build your business and help you. And then the outcome shows me, here you are with wands again, and you're holding on to all your wands. You're holding on to everything. And you must keep on holding tight to everything you have till the road is clear. The road is not clear right now. It's good. It's solid. And you have a firm foundation. But you should not venture into any new business deals at this time. To just stay on the right path, and whatever is offered, make sure that it's a signed contract and it's good for you. But at the outcome, it's showing me, hold on to everything you have. Don't go into any new business deals at this time. And if you do check with an attorney. So that's your outcome. That is your card reading. Now, what was your question?
Well, it was exactly on my business. Since I just got a shop, a boutique shop, so I was really curious about my future in my business.
Mm-hmm.
And you did explain to me what's most shocking was the political part. You said it's going to be surrounding by political people.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to a very big political fundraiser.
So the cards are pretty accurate that you can see at this point.
definitely.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and maybe next time we'll answer another question.
Thank you, Dayle.
Well, I sure hope you enjoyed the video on Tarot for the Beginner, a step-by-step guide on how to read your tarot cards. Right now, you have all the knowledge of the beginner on how to read cards for yourself, for your family, for your friends, for your boyfriend, for anyone. So keep on trying, work with the cards, day in, day out, carry them in your purse, do whatever you want to do with them, and make them yours. Thank you so much for joining us.